Hey ladies and gents, this is Izdwiz here with the review of the Cosmic Legion's Kraggnar figure from Four Horsemen Toy Design. Let me show you what the box looks like. It's a large box. It has the name right in front, Kraggnar. It's got a digital rendering here. And on this side it has the bio, so you can pause that or you can listen to me read it. It says Kraggnar, Havalkatar's lowermost ring of cells, is formally registered as Block 5. This grouping, however, is more commonly referred to as the Grave Ring, due to its proximity to the grave, the fighting arena at its center. One of the star attractions in this brutal battleground is the massive four-armed behemoth called Kraggnar. Not always valued for his size and strength alone, Kraggnar was once an architect and a builder of great cities on his homeworld of Corvium. Despite the violent repetition he faces day after day, Kraggnar's constructive ideology fuels him with the motivation to push ahead, one brawl at a time. All right, back we got the cross cell with all the other figures on it, and it's a big, hefty one with Havalkatar Book 1. You can pause that and read that if you'd like, to tell you all about Cosmic Legions, the Four Horsemen's follow-up to Mythic Legions. This guy was basically my most anticipated figure coming in. I love the four arms. It kind of gives me a John Carter Mars feel to it. Very alien. It also comes with two heads, as you can see here. This one is got the Gungan duck lips look, much cooler than a Gungan, but a little reminiscent. Maybe a Gungan took steroids, Gungan on steroids, and it comes with multiple hands as well. As if you don't want him to have four hands, you just want him to have two, it's got these little plug-in accessories, so you can take the hands on the back or the arms on the back, yank them out, and then plug up the hole nicely, so he's seamless. He's seamless, and he doesn't, have two gaping holes in his back. So that's kind of cool. You can also see his weapon accessory here. That's a mace, and then he's got a lot of cool technological armor. He's got some this techie harness and a loincloth, and then this belt with some, looks like armored bits there. I've got him crouching down a little bit so he fits into the shot, because otherwise he's a bit too big. And I decided that I wanted to exhibit him or display him with the teeth bared visage there. He's got a couple of scars on his face that attest to, all the battles that he's been in. But I can't imagine how frightened someone would be to stand up next to this hulking brute and have to take him on in the arena. Look at that. That's him standing next to my custom Havalkatar figure with the head swap with the Cthulhu from Tristan Castillo, painted by Dave Williams. And that'll show you how he kind of towers over the opposition, and how, how incredibly scary it would be to face a hardened warrior with four arms, because you wouldn't know where the punches were coming. Overhand right over here, overhand left, it could be a jab there, can hit you at four places at once, right? And then maybe just give you the left hook on that side. I love the color scheme and the color coordination. I love the orange, and I love how it's airbrushed, and you can see the muscle striations. You can see all the little crevices and cracks and details in his scales. And then the color choices are really good on this. The furry loincloth is gray, and that silver is offset by this sort of robin's egg blue, which really, sets out his eyes nicely. So Very cool. Orange and blue, of course, being very nice complementary colors. And then the airbrushing of this yellow on the underside and up into the bottom. It really gives him sort of a air of verisimilitude, kind of like a lizard that has, you know, the, I guess, is it the ventral side, lighter than the dorsal side. Let me spin him around here so you can see some more of those details. It's hard enough to keep him totally on camera the whole time. You'll notice that his wrist gauntlets here have a ring, and I know a lot of people are putting chains on that and sort of restraining him, which makes sense because he's a big scary guy, and I would think that the jailers would want to have supplementary restraints on him. And some people say that the D20 Wolf has some good chains, so I'm going to look at incorporating that from my D20 Wolf and making sure that he's chained up at each of the 4 wrists and also here in the back. The other thing that I think is going to be good about that, as far as chaining him up in my display, is that while he's a solid figure, he is very top heavy. So I anticipate that over time, the forces of gravity are probably going to cause him to lean forward and possibly fall. And whenever I have a figure where they're extremely top heavy, even if the legs are tight initially, if it's this heavy, I will always take that extra precaution of tying him up. And the character design, you know, I'll usually take like either a small filament wire or some fishing wire and a thumbtack and tack that to the wall, and then make sure that if it gets really hot in my toy room, which sometimes it does, that they won't shelf dive on me. And even if they try to, you know, the fishing wire will hold them up. And the other thing is, of course, if you have a stand for him, I think that would be also something that I would recommend doing, just because, like I said, over time, he is a big, hunkin', heavy character, and over time I could see him falling over just because the center of gravity is affected. So here's a closer look at the high-tech mace. Hopefully that's focusing in there. There's a metallic copper in the coils here. Not sure whether that is just a club or whether or not it can project beams or pulses or what the deal is. But this guy looks like he wouldn't even need a weapon. He could just sort of rip somebody limb from limb just with the 4 arms that he has there, right? So he's a very, very cool character. And I know people have already stripped him of his armor and used him to mix and match and create sort of a Mythic Legions dragon figure or a dragon custom. I know people were looking forward to that. So that's something that's very doable. The arms, let's see, are fit in there very snugly and all, but you know, they also come out. So if you want to have him with a 3, if you want him, I don't know why you would, but if you want him to have like 3 arms, you could have him have 3 arms, or you could snap one of these arms off. You see how, I think I put this plug in the wrong place. You see how much effort it takes for me to unplug those arms. And that's a good thing because you don't want the arms flopping out. And then you stick the plug in there. And then you stick the plug in here. So it's seamless because, you know, you have this ridge right here running down the back. I don't know why anybody would want them with 4 arms instead of, with 2 arms instead of 4. I think the 4-arm look is very, very cool. I love the silhouette that he gives us with the extra arms. But, you know, your mileage may vary. He's also very good looking with the typical 2 arms as a typical 2-arm biped lizard type of warrior, right? Let me swap the head there so you can take a look at what that looks like. And of course, that also fits in there very snugly. And normally I would this is more of a placid look because he doesn't have his teeth bared in this iteration with this head. I even saw somebody people are so creative, take this guy and make a steed out of him where he was on all fours, and I think he was being ridden by an elf of mythic legions. So they took the harness off and just, I don't know how they did it, but they twisted the legs around, they flipped the legs over. I don't know how they did it, but they turned him into a steed, and that was pretty interesting, right? It's just the creativity of the members of the Cabal and the Mythic Legions fans knows no bounds. But I don't think that's a lot of people are going to have that as their preferred configuration. Although kudos for thinking that up. So, I 100% recommend that you grab this guy. The sculpt is awesome. It's what you're used to as far as detail and then more. I can't overemphasize how good the paint is and how well it pops, and how everything's airbrushed so you can see the muscles there. You could see all that detail, and forearms are better than two, like I said, but it does give you that option as well. Nice and tight on the joints, but again, I would say when I have him on my shelf, he's going to be restrained by chains, so that if he ever decides to take a shelf dive, that doesn't happen. Look at the detail like on the teeth there. You can see the gums, you can see the teeth, and it's just really cool. Look at the old scars there, the old battle wounds. And he's not just a big, giant, mindless brute. He's not all about blunt force trauma. He also has an interesting bio that I read before, all about how he's a builder and an engineer and all that. So, look at that. I'm not going to stick the arms back on. Let me see what else. Let me do a little size comparison for you guys. The Sentry and another really, really big figure, Vorga. Both of them are dwarfed by Kraggnar. Like I said, Kraggnar is one of my favorites in this wave, and definitely a must get. I know this body is also being used in Mythic Legions for it painted blue and with a dragon head on it. So hopefully we'll get some dragon heads and some different colors of dragons with this big buck. And I'm trying to remember the name. It's named after Chris Garich's daughter. But I just think that they're probably going to get a lot of use out of this buck. A lot of people who love dragonkin or dragons, or even Warhammer. There's a whole line of Warhammer games where you have Aztec and Mesoamerican inspired lizard people or dragons, and I can see a lot of these going to make dragon customs for that. I've already seen a few customs not involving Mythic Legions, but I can see the talented people just letting their imagination run wild. This is the ogre scaled figure, and so you can mix and match parts with the ogre scale figures in Mythic Legions as well. And like I said, just by switching out the techie bits you already have a Dragonborn type character that will fit right in with all the other mythic legions, you know, and have him fight knights or whatever. Just who doesn't love lizards? Who doesn't love dragons? And who doesn't love giant hulking brutes that look like they could tear you apart with their bare arms? All right, that's it for my review of Kraggnar. Is it Wiz signing out.